welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I am Charlie Caleri alongside
Gavin Williams.
And today we'll be diving into week 1 of the NFL, a real little recap, and then we're going to be predicting week 2. It was a pretty good week of NFL, week 1. Some good games to start off the season. I think the NFL is pretty happy with that, and so are we. But Gavin, how are you doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Tough week. Friday night.
Tough week, yeah.
Tough Friday night, but
we'll get into
it.
Back.
Yeah, we'll get into it. That'll be the second game we go through. But other than that, I love watching Red Zone, man. I told the CFO.
CFO.
Told the CFO.
Shout out.
I'm like, he's like, what do you got going on tomorrow? Because he talked to me on Saturday. I'm like, Dad, I plan on doing nothing but sitting on my behind, watching Red Zone all day.
Mm-hmm.
I completed that task. I did it.
Wow.
I went 1 to 7 o'clock-ish.
I did that for the 4 o'clock window. That was my Red Zone time. Was the 4 o'clock.
The Bills played at 1 though.
Right, Bills played at 1. I was locked down on that. Locked down on the Sunday night game, which was a great game. And yeah, Friday, Gav was over. We were watching that together. Tough game. But Thursday, let's just get into it now.
Yeah.
Thursday, start of the season. I had to work a soccer game, so I missed the first quarter and a half of this game. But Gavin watched the first quarter and a half, maybe dive into the beginning of the game a little bit, and then we'll recap it from there.
Yeah. So the game kind of started out pretty even. I mean, the whole game was pretty even, except for maybe the third quarter. But it's kind of like a little back and forth. Kansas City had a little lead at the end of the first half, but thinking about some guys who are already getting going for these Chiefs. If you want to bring out a name, his name's Rashee Rice. It's not Travis Kelce this week, which I wish it was because he's on my fantasy team, but no worries. I won in all 3 of my leagues this week, so we're good. But yeah, it's not. That's probably gonna be the one and only time I'm gonna say that all year. Just gonna be completely honest.
All of them.
But so Rashee Rice, 7 receptions, 103 yards. Kid just absolutely balled out. Found a way to get open every single time. It was absolutely what you needed to see from somebody in the somebody in the skill position for the offense that's not Isaiah Pacheco and it's not Travis Kelce. You need to see those wideouts do a little bit more work. And what we did see in the first half was Xavier Worthy get the ball a couple times. They found a way to be creative with him.
I was going to say, he got a touchdown first half and second half, so he was a pretty effective player too. So they're going to have a pretty good wide receiver duo, it seems like.
It's looking like it because they found their next Tyreek is what people are thinking.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
This kid's got wheels. I mean, this kid takes an end around, goes all the way behind the whole I form. He just circles around the entire field, and he's just that fast where he got right in at the end of the second quarter around there. And then he had a receiving touchdown later that night. But that first touchdown was where you saw the speed at its finest. Because second score, he was a little more open, didn't have to do as much work.
Right, 35 yards, yeah.
Yeah, first touchdown, though, it was only like a 10, 20-yard run, but you saw the Jets.
20 yards,
yeah, so the Jets turn right on. And the kid just cruised right in the end zone. But that was one hell of a touchdown. I'm like, wow, this kid's gonna be a dog.
Right, and on the flip side of that, I mean, huge for the Ravens, first of all. I mean, you lose this game 27-20, but Derrick Henry gets in the end zone there.
First drive.
Yeah, first drive of the season. Lamar looked pretty good.
Yeah.
26 for 41 for 273 and a touchdown.
He's got to start completing some more passes, though.
Right, yeah, he's got to be a little bit more efficient.
That completion percentage is a little low.
But he was still their leading rusher.
He
16 carries for 122 yards. This guy
he was running all over him.
This guy's crazy. I mean, Lamar, he might be looking to put up revenge redemption for a second straight MVP if he really wanted to.
He also lost, I think it was 15 pounds in the offseason.
Right, and everybody was saying that's going to help him a little. Or did he gain or lose?
He lost.
I can't remember because every offseason it changes whether he loses or gains pounds.
He lost back down to his college kind of
Louisville
kind of stature. So
yeah, he did look a little bit leaner.
He did.
A little bit
he
more.
didn't even really need to lose weight, but he just got faster off it. So
no, he looked more like a string bean, honestly, than anything the other day. But I mean, if he's still getting touchdowns and running all over the place for him, they don't care.
Yeah.
But regardless, Chiefs take this one. Huge game in the AFC playoff picture.
Huge game for Isaiah Likely too.
Right.
Didn't even mention this guy's name. 9 receptions, 111 yards, almost 2 touchdowns. One of them got called back in the last seconds of the game. Toe. Just on the out of bounds white line.
Maybe a knuckle of the toe. Maybe the end of
the toenail.
Toenail. Yeah.
So, I mean, that was tough. because obviously I wanted the Chiefs because I picked them this week.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted that overtime game so bad. And then when he did score, when we thought he did, they automatically were going to go for 2. And I'm like, wow, this is electric.
Yeah, right.
I just
when
want to
Harbaugh
see
put
that.
up the 2,
Yeah.
I
just want to see them go for 2.
just want to see what play they would drop.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I mean,
they
obviously
messed
they're
up a couple
gonna
years
put that
ago.
in the back pocket now.
Yeah.
They're gonna save that for another time, and maybe, I mean, the way that the NFL goes, I feel like we could see a situation where these teams match up again in the playoffs, and we see a situation where the Ravens have to go for 2,
Yeah.
and we'll be thinking back to week 1 and saying, is this the play that they were gonna run? Probably not, but we gotta ask.
see.
We gotta ask those questions. Speaking of our picks, which Gavin you mentioned last week, if you haven't followed us on Instagram, do that right now.
At Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot between every single word.
Yes, it is, Gavin. Every week we'll be posting our picks, our predictions for each game. So go check that out. Last week I went 11 and what did I go? 11-6?
11-5.
11-5, sorry. 11-5, bad math. And you went 10-6.
Yeah.
So I'm still a game up on Gavin, staying where I was last year, still up in the race. Let's see if I can keep it going. But this week doesn't look like we have too many swing games, but we'll get into the predictions at the end of the episode. So stick around for that. Getting into our Friday game now, which is your team. I'll get into it a little bit first. 2 green teams going down to Brazil. I don't think this game was that bad.
It was a good game.
I think it was presented really well.
It was a good game.
We went into it with a lot of skepticism, a lot of criticism for this game.
I still have criticism for the game.
Right. The field was not great.
Yeah.
It was players were slipping all over the place.
Other than that, though, pretty good.
Right. The field was the main issue, but other than that, I feel like the fans were really into it. They were really into it. And it felt like kind of an Eagles home game. I'm not gonna lie. It didn't feel like it did. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it did.
I don't know, because there was moments when like the Packers would just go on a roll, and then like they would get loud.
Does this make sense? No. But does it make sense that it's like a three-fourths Eagles home game? Not that there was 3/4 of Eagles fans, but like, you know what I mean? It was like
the stadium pulse.
Yeah, the stadium pulse was probably like halfway.
Yeah.
You know, but for the Eagles. So, this game finished 34-29 with the Eagles taking the dub. And I'll say the player of the game for me was Saquon Barkley. I mean, coming in, first game with the new team, division rival coming in, now your new team, they got to love you now, and they do. I mean, 2 touchdowns for this guy right off the bat, 109 yards, and then their quarterback adding on 2 touchdowns of his own, 278 through the air. He could be poised for an MVP season this year too, but adding Saquon into a mix with A.J. Brown, who had 119 yards and a touchdown, this team looks scary, and a lot scarier than we anticipated before, even last week. So, what do you think about the Packers now?
Just wanted to leave out a stat you didn't put in there. Saquon had 3 total touchdowns, 2 rushing.
Oh, the one receiving. Yes, sorry.
Which the one receiving
rushing,
was one of the best catches I've ever seen from a running back, except for Jamal Williams, because that was the greatest catch by a running back. But absolutely got cooked by Saquon Barkley. It's been in the Packers' history to let him just run all over us. We can bring us back a couple years ago to London when it was our freshman year in school. Ran all over us when he was with the Giants. Now he's with the Eagles. Same thing. But it was a good test for week 1. You know, it's like, okay, it's week 1. Put it behind.
Yep.
You always want a good test week 1, though. You don't want an easy win week 1. You want to see what's going to be the worst of the worst that it can get. And the defense kind of showed in the beginning, the first quarter, defense was like, they forced 2 turnovers in 2 drives. They had an interception by Xavier McKinney. Welcome to the pack. Let's go. Then they had a fumble recovery in the second drive. Both of them, at least one of them, shouldn't have been a field goal. It sucks when you have to settle for 3 when you're on the other guy's 30-yard line. You got to bring it in. That's whatever. Then they late in the game forced another interception. The defense is finally, I know we put up 34
I didn't
points.
mention Hurts' 2 picks.
Yeah.
But those picks were not the best reads.
No, they were horrible reads.
And
Both of them.
If he does want to win MVP eventually in his career, he cannot be making those reads. And it
Those
goes for a lot of other QBs too, not just him. So I'll get into that in a little bit with another guy.
Yeah. And I'm just going to keep going. Like, defense, brand new defense coordinator, a lot of different guys on this team. Got some new healthy guys like Eric Stokes, who didn't even play a snap last year, who automatically is starting because he's a dog. But gotta get into it. 34 points unacceptable, even if it's this Eagles offense. But let's get into some of the guys from my team. I'm gonna save the one that hurts for last, because love hurts. Anyways, so Jayden Reed, oh my God, I want to thank my brother Connell Williams for not starting him in fantasy this week, because that's what got me the win, was because he put Jayden Reed on his bench.
Shout out to Connell Williams. Go Bills.
So thank you, Connell, for putting this guy on the bench. This guy had 33 points, 33, and one of them was a rush. So he had 2 touchdowns. Well, almost had 3. One of them got called back for 12 men on the field for both teams, which I've never seen before.
Yeah,
That was weird.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick, because I was thinking about this.
First drive.
If both teams had the same amount of guys on the field, shouldn't it be a legal play? Like, I understand why it's not, and
Yeah.
I don't really think it should be a legal play. But, like, if both teams have the same amount of guys on the field,
pretty
shouldn't
fair.
they just let it go? No, like, seriously. Like, I mean, isn't there a world where, like, they're just like, well, you had 12 as well. So, and what about the flip side? If they both have 10,
No,
they
yeah.
throwing a flag?
They have to.
Do they?
Not enough men.
What
on
are
the
they
field.
called? What are they called?
Not enough men on the field.
Is that a penalty?
It is a penalty because it's a formation.
Yeah, I guess.
Because you need so many guys on the line of scrimmage,
No,
so many
that's
guys
right.
off the line of scrimmage.
Right.
So that would mess up everything. If
But
there's
it's just
one guy
like-
away.
All right, we'll get back into the
So
Packers.
yes, Jayden Reed absolutely dominated. That's the guy we drafted in the second round. Just want to point that out. Second round steal from Michigan State. Yeah, Jayden Reed's just a dog. He's got to get more. He's got to get more targets. He only had 4 receptions and 2 runs, but he's got to get the ball more. He had 138 yards. That is the most yards in Week 1 this year. He's got technically the most receiving yards this year. Get the guy the ball more. That's one thing. I want to say one thing about Dontavian Wicks, who I've been so high on this offseason. He played like garbage. Garbage. Dropped every ball that came to him. I know he's slipping out there, a slip and slide. You got when the ball hits your hands.
You gotta catch the ball.
Ball hits your hands, you gotta catch the ball. I
The
don't care
one
who's
was
in front
tough.
of you.
The one was
Oh,
tough.
yeah.
He was falling away, but he was slipping on the grass. So
I know, but
I-
it's gonna change. He's gonna get into it. I'm
Right.
not nervous about him. Josh
Right.
Jacobs, welcome to the team. Sorry to see Aaron Jones go. Josh Jacobs, we gotta use him more. First half,
I think you will now.
no, we will.
I think you will now.
First half, he only had like 4 carries. End of the game was 16.
Yeah,
So I mean, you can see 16 for 84 yards. That's a solid stat line.
that
solid,
is. That
very
is.
solid.
Yeah, especially
You
for
need-
half of football.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
We gotta get him. We gotta get him a touchdown. We gotta get him a receiving touchdown before he breaks the record of most catches without a receiving touchdown. Okay, now I'm gonna get into it. My guy, J Love, is 17 for 34, inexcusable. You gotta throw better. That should at least be 20 for 34. 17 for 34 is half. That's 50-50. I'm not down for that. That's not acceptable. He's gotta fix that. 260 yards, fine. Good numbers. He had more yards than Josh Allen had this week. So, just want to point that out.
that was just
More
not,
total
That
yards
was not
too.
necessary.
I'm just playing. It's just I'm saying that because of my brother. Because
I think Allen might have more for the season.
he probably will. He probably will.
Knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood, everybody. I am knocking on wood.
2 touchdowns for the kid that wears number 10 in green. One of them to Jayden Reed. One of them to Christian Watson, who's another man I would need to bring up. He's got to get more balls. He's got to get the ball more. He's got to get open more. This is getting inexcusable. I know it's week 1. I know it was a horrible field to play on. It doesn't matter. This is a playoff game, potential future playoff game. You gotta treat it like one. Then an interception that was just horrible. But the last couple seconds, Jordan Love drops back, gets pressured, gets the ball away, gets his leg caught up from Jalen Carter, and sprained MCL. So he's out 3 to 6 weeks. That really sucks because we just before the 53-man roster came out, we cut every freaking quarterback, and we traded for Malik Willis, probably to get that backup who probably plays the most like Jordan Love in the league. I mean, that's what I'm
right.
guessing.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because I was trying to look through the QBs that would play like J Love, and I feel like
Malik would be one of those.
yeah, I feel like there's not many that even have. I guess J Love, and don't take this as a disrespectful comment, but it's the only way I know how to phrase it. I'll call him like a watered down. I'll call him a watered down Aaron Rodgers, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, he can do what Aaron does, right? He can throw in the pocket like he does. He can scramble out and throw in the run very well, like Aaron does. And he can even scramble a little bit and get physical a little bit, like Aaron does. But he just doesn't do it all as well. That's what I think the Packers want to do. But as of right now, I think that's where Jordan is in his career.
Yeah. So, little really fun fact before we move on, because that just stings. Charlie saw probably the worst of the worst he's ever seen from me. I was down.
We were at the time, it was just me, Ian, our Colts correspondent, and Gavin sitting in our apartment, and Gavin walks into Ian's room, sits down at his desk for about 30 minutes with that video.
5-second video.
5-second video on repeat for about 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Me and Ian kept going back to check on him, seeing if he moved. He did not. And eventually he got up. He said, "Boys, going to bed."
Yep.
And we saw him the next morning.
Yep.
He was back. So
I just needed a night to myself.
Yeah, he just needed a little bit of time, which is fair.
So the really quick really quick thing with Malik Willis, because he might fit decently, and he's not a horrible backup quarterback to have. So I'm not horrified because of this is our next 5 weeks. Really quick: Colts, Titans, Vikings, Rams, Cardinals. Most of them are winnable games. One of them I see completely not. So we'll just see how much it takes for Jordan Love to get back. There's already something about Matt LaFleur saying Malik will start this week if Jordan can't be back. It's like, what's the if about? Just let him sit out this week.
Yeah, right.
Like, let him sit out 3 weeks if he has to.
Yeah,
I want him at
least the
90%.
next 2.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to make the playoffs this year. You want to go deeper in the playoffs this year. So
I want him at
a
least
few bigger
90%.
plans for this guy. I mean, save him. These 3 games. I mean, keeping him out an extra week might save you an extra year of his career.
Exactly.
So,
and I don't want this being re-aggravating. So bad week 1. Like, I'm very proud of the team for how they fought, but inexcusable nonetheless. Gotta move on to Colts week, which Ian and I are getting into it this week.
right,
man.
and we'll get into that in about 2-3 games now. But to start off, Gav, let's get into the rest of the slate. The 1 o'clock Sunday. We opened up with Panthers at Saints. You want to talk about this one a little bit?
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
A little bit.
Not a lot to talk
about.
I'm just gonna point out Bryce Young doesn't have any protection. I saw this game a lot on Red Zone because the Saints were scoring a lot. So Bryce Young, not a lot of protection. He threw 13 out of 30 for 161 yards and 2 interceptions.
And at some point, I won't chime in too many times on this game or at all. This might be my only time. But I'm a Bryce Young supporter.
Yeah, I am too.
And what they are doing to this guy
horrible.
Is blasphemy right
They're
here.
running this guy's career to the ground.
Yeah, 13 for 30, that is not a quarterback's problem right there. You can look at a game, and maybe for this next guy that I'm going to talk about, maybe it'll be a problem for him. But this guy, who you know has a good arm and can get the ball to his receivers, 13 for 30 is not his problem.
No, it's not. And that's half because his receivers aren't getting open, and it's mostly because he's getting pressured too much.
He should be 18 for 30 in that stat line. So five of those plays have to go the other way somehow. And those 5 players, I mean, who knows? Obviously, you let up 47 points on the defensive end, but you score, how many is it, 17? 17 on the offensive end.
10.
I mean, 10 sorry.
47-10.
10 on the offensive end. Maybe you get to 17 with those extra 5.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, who knows? Those are the plays that the Panthers need to improve on, and that's why Bryce Young hasn't developed and hasn't been good for that team. That's why they're going to lose him in a few years.
I feel bad.
But
Miles
Panthers rant.
Miles Sanders, only 5 carries for 22 yards. That was a leading rusher on the team. Leading receiver is only Adam Thielen, 3 receptions, 49 yards. Just an entirely bad game. We'll get into a little bit about the Saints, though, because they ran up the score pretty well. Alvin Kamara, 15 carries, 83 yards, 1 touchdown. Very, very solid stat. Rashid Shaheed, 3 receptions, 73 yards, 1 touchdown. But that 1 touchdown pass was like a 50-something yard bomb. Like, it was a big, deep ball. Derek Carr, 19 for 23, 200 yards on the nose, 3 touchdowns. There's a little trash talk at the end of this one. Derek Carr looked at this Panther in the face, and he said, "I got 3 on you." So that's kind of all it is. 47-10 final score. Saints go up against a division opponent, 1-0. Panthers fall 0-1, they're probably going to be the worst team in football this year.
Yeah, I had a little bit of faith in the Panthers before that game, hoping because they had some good additions. I still feel like they're going to be pretty decent, but I thought that offensive line would have been at least mid, if anything. And to still know that it's by far probably the worst in the league is just kind of disheartening to know, and kind of upsetting to know, too, that the Panthers didn't go out and protect their guy.
It's just too bad.
Right, it is too bad.
Because we both like Bryce Young.
Right, and yeah, getting into another team that I like, or another guy that I like on a team. Unfortunately, he won't be playing. But get into the Vikings-Giants game here. J.J. McCarthy looked good in that sideline. I know he wasn't dressed up, but he looked good in that sideline. Vikings take this game 28-6. Yeah, believe it or not, the Giants did score first in this game.
Did.
They scored on, I believe, let me just double check right here. Sorry, it was their second drive of the season. Their first drive, they punted, which is not a surprise. But leading the way for the Giants was Daniel Jones.
Yep.
And 22 for 42, 186 and 2 picks.
One of them for a touchdown.
One of them for a touchdown. Not a great game from Daniel Jones. Doesn't look to be another great season from Daniel Jones. And this Giants team looks to not be so great. I mean, Devin Singletary, 37 yards rushing. Allen had more.
It's so funny how Singletary's wearing 26. I just thought that was hilarious.
What? That's what he wore in the Bills.
No, I know, but like just because that was Saquon's number.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I just think
true.
it's hilarious.
That is true. And I guess from afar they might look kind of similar if you're watching the game real quick.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, it's Singletary.
By the way, the Montreal Canadiens jerseys they wore were horrific.
Yeah, those were not
Horrible.
great. Those were not great. And then on both sides, you had an LSU receiver leading the way, Malik Neighbors for the Giants and Justin Jefferson catching a touchdown for those Vikings. Sticking with the Vikings here, Aaron Jones in his first game with his rival team, I guess, scored a touchdown, 94 yards, 14 carries. Pretty good stat line from him. And that new quarterback for the Vikings, Sam the Man Darnold. He's not seeing ghost in jet life that night. 208 for 2 touchdowns and a pick. Threw a pick in there. But a solid game overall for Sam Darnold, especially when he wasn't expected to be the starter. Throwing into a role there, getting a win for that team. Maybe they can carry it on to next week. Who knows? But a solid win there for the Vikings, just getting a win over a pretty bad team. And the Giants are going to be a team competing with the Panthers, I think, for that number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So not 2 great games right there, but a few games better coming up. So
Yeah. Before we move on, Daniel Jones, ever since signing his contract, has 2 touchdowns for his own team and 3 touchdowns for the other team. Just thought that was a stat that needed to be said. That he has more touchdowns thrown to the other team ever since signing that 4-year, hell of a big deal contract. So the next game was probably the biggest fluke of the week, one of the biggest flukes of the week for a team that we all had very high praise on, especially coming back from injury, and that's Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. They played the New England Patriots and they lost. If that doesn't say enough. This was a hell of a defensive game from the Patriots. I want to give them all the credit in the world. Gerard Mayo.
I was gonna say Gerard Mayo must have been doing something behind those closed doors.
Yeah,
I mean,
first game coaching.
losing Matt Judon too.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
come
he
on,
was huge on that defense.
Yeah.
One of the he was the best player on that defense last year. Going into this year though, they held the Bengals to 10 points. They only held Joe Burrow to 164 yards on 21 completions. They stopped Jamar Chase to 62 yards, which honestly, at the end of the day, got tip your cap to because he's usually a guy who gets above 100 almost every game. Zach Moss, new back for the replaced Mixon, 9 carries, 44 yards, touchdown. Those are low numbers for those boys in orange and black. They got held to 10 points.
those uniforms they were wearing were
beautiful.
unreal. First time in Bengals history that they wore orange pants.
Yep.
Pretty cool. First time they wore an all orange uniform, obviously.
Yep.
So now all they need for their uniform set is a black helmet.
Yeah.
That's all they need. They got the white one. They got the orange one. They just need a black one.
And
black with orange stripes and an orange face mask.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
I thought it was really cool, too. If you looked at the stands during this game, everybody in the stands had orange on. It just completed the whole thing. It was awesome. It was just a great uniform combination, too. But now for the Patriots, Jacoby Brissett, 15 for 24 and 121 yards. That is horrible, and they still won this game because of this defense. Ramondre Stevenson, Big week on my fantasy squad. 25 carries, 120 yards, and a touchdown. He's going to be doing that a lot this season, just carrying. He's just going to carry this team. And a surprising receiving yards leader for the New England Patriots, Austin Hooper. 2 receptions, 31 yards. That's all I really have to say. A lot of defense. Good stops from the Patriots when it mattered most, especially on the goal line a couple times. They improved to 1-0, which they're going to be still. I still think they're going to be one of those teams who are bottom of the league.
Yeah, right.
But let's go.
Big win for the Patriots, yeah.
A little moral boost for those Patriots out there in New England.
Right, and honestly, a big win if you're looking at. Obviously, we don't know what the season holds, but from what we project, if you're a Bills or a Ravens or a Chiefs fan, this is a big game for the Bengals losing this game because I mean, Patriots winning, obviously probably not going to be the best team. They're going to finish with around probably 4 or 5 wins at this point. But the Bengals, I mean, that's a big game for them to lose. Big tiebreaker game for them to lose.
They're coming in late of the season. That might matter a lot.
Right. Moving on to this next game, one of their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, getting a win over the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins' first game as the Falcons QB. And if you like field goals, you'll like this game because out of the, 8 scores that happened in this game, 7 of them were field goals. 7. That's a whole touchdown worth of field goals right there. 6 of them came from the Steelers. That was their 18 points that they got, all from Chris Boswell. A great fantasy day from him. And then 10 points from the Falcons who lost this game. Their touchdown coming from Kyle Pitts. Just a kind of a boring game overall. Nothing really happened in this game other than the storyline of Justin Fields getting to play a little bit. He'll be playing next week too for them. And Kirk Cousins playing his first game with the Falcons. Actually, Ray McCloud was the leading receiver here for the Falcons. And former Steeler, actually, getting a revenge game there against his former team. But let's just talk about, real quick, about this game. This game was not good, but Drake London, he had 2 catches for 15 yards. When is this guy going to step up for this offense?
Hey, Kyle Pitts got a touchdown.
When is Drake London going to step up for this offense? Yeah. Because if you just have Kyle Pitts going, you just have Bijan Robinson going, which I don't even know if he played that great of a game.
Played all right.
Drake London has to do something for somebody in the outside to get some production other than Ray McCloud.
No, yeah.
I didn't even know he was in the Falcons.
I didn't
start
know
this
right
year.
now.
So, yeah, the Falcons got to get it together, especially with Bucks getting a win and the Saints getting a win. They're falling behind in the division already pretty quickly, so they got to get it all together.
No, yeah, very true. Falcons, actually a lot of people had them winning this game. It's good to see from Mike Tomlin, though. Can he keep the streak going? It looks like his defense wants it, especially a man named T.J. Watt. This guy was unreal in this game. He had 2 strip sacks in this game, 2. This guy's going to be Defense Player of the Year. I'm telling you right now. Now, going on to another game, but this game is interdivision, and it was probably my favorite 1 o'clock game of the whole week. It was awesome. Houston Texans at Indy playing the Colts. And this was worth all the hype, worth all the popcorn, it was worth everything. I'll start on the Colts side of the ball because they still played a very good game. Final score was 29-27. There was a missed 2-pointer in there for the Houston Texans. Could have been 31, but it's not. That's why this game was so close, and that's why it made it very, very interesting. Anthony Richardson, really weird stats, but kind of good at the same time. 9 for 19. See, 9 completed catches, but he had 212 yards. That's crazy. One of his 2 touchdowns, absolute deep ball.
I mean, one of the best throws I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He like sidearmed that ball for 65, 70 yards. Yeah. I mean, that's insane.
It was, and Alec Pierce ran the breadbasket.
Yep.
He also had a pick in this game, which was pretty costly. But getting into AR5 one more time, he is the leading rusher of this game, too. So only 6 carries, but he had 56 yards and a touchdown. The guy had 3 total touchdowns. He had 26 fantasy points, and I was very happy because he's also in one of my leagues. And then the man I was just talking about, Alec Pierce, 3 receptions, 125 yards, and a touchdown. Absolutely lighting it up. Now, going on to the Texans side of the ball, C.J. Stroud picking up right where he left off last year, 24 for 32, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. Absolutely amazing. Who were those 2 touchdowns to? The guy who just got there, Stephon Diggs, and he is looking good. Not going to lie. Now, for the guy who I also have in another league, Joe Mixon. Wow. Wait, one second. Let's go, kid. 30 carries, 159 yards, and a touchdown. Absolutely tore up this Colts defense on that side of the ball. Let's not forget about Nico Collins, though, because this guy is still here. He didn't leave. 6 receptions, 117 yards. This was a great game. So back and forth. There's a chance for the Colts to get a last stop. Just to get that ball back with just enough time. Didn't get the stop. But altogether, I mean, this fourth quarter had 28 points in it. 14 for the Texans, 14 for the Colts. It was just absolutely electric. Great game from both squads. And I think this is a big prove-it game for the Indianapolis Colts that they're going to be a playoff threat this year. And I think it's very, very much so.
But if you're the Colts, you got to win that game at home against that divisional rival. We talked about it a little bit previewing this game. That's a huge game for them to win, and not winning that game. Obviously, you come out with some hope out of that and some positive things, but not coming out with that win is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Moving on now to my favorite team and some of your favorite teams. If you're listening to this from Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills won a game, first game of the season. They beat the Arizona Cardinals. And let me ask you, Gavin, how was your friend Luke Strasburger's experience at this game?
A little update, he didn't go.
He didn't go?
No, he didn't. He wasn't able to make it.
Oh, no.
He had to watch from the lobby of St. John Fisher.
Oh.
And in a room full of Bills fans.
Oh, no, Strauss. That was just... Oh, my. Well, sorry to hear that, but the Bills still got the win. Josh Allen, doing what Josh Allen does. He's a pretty good player, man. I think he's, in my opinion, I think he might win MVP this year. But getting to the actual game, it started off very slow for the Bills. Very slow. Started off actually with an Arizona touchdown, first drive of the game. That was not what you wanted to see. I mean, they took off half the first quarter on that first drive. It was a masterful drive from Kyler Murray, ending it there with that pass to Michael Wilson for 5 yards for a touchdown. And then the Bills came back, fumbled the ball right away. That was not what you want to see from Allen. 4-play drive, thinking you might get some momentum, try to tie the game up right there. Fumble the ball in your own territory. Not great. Cardinals get it back, score a field goal. You're down 10-0. You're like,
that was a crazy.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at the TV. I'm like, are we really about to lose to the Cardinals right now? This is supposed to be the easiest game of our season. Easiest in quotes because it was not an easy game. And they put up a really good fight. They scored a field goal. We came back. T-Bass drilled a field goal, made it 10-3. They came back again, scored another touchdown, made it 17-3. Is
that the James Conner one?
That was the James Conner touchdown.
That was a good touchdown right there, too.
And then we came back, scored a touchdown.
Yep.
7 plays, 70 yards. That was a great drive, quick drive. And that was the half, 17-10. Going into half, you're like, once again, you're like, what is going on? I mean, we thought we maybe could get the lead back. I mean, at least tie this game before half. Couldn't get it done. And then guess what? Right out of half, 10 plays, 60 yards, touchdown. Kicked the ball, actually, not in the landing zone. So it went to 40-yard line. I don't mind the new kicking rules. I don't really like it going out to the 30.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But that's really the only thing I don't like.
Bring that ball out to the 35 or 40. Make it a punishment for.
You think further? I think bring it back to the 25.
No, put it out further.
Okay.
Make him return the ball.
That's fair.
And if you have to back the kick up off a little bit, make him kick off from the 25-yard. They can get it down to that landing zone.
That's fair.
Make him earn it.
That's fair. Well, third quarter was not as exciting. There was a few punts in there, and then the Bills got that fumble recovery, which was huge. Scored a touchdown off of that, took the lead off of that. That's really what got us the momentum, got us back into this game, and eventually got us the win. They scored a field goal after that, 24-20. We came back, scored a touchdown. They came back, scored a touchdown.
Hey,
and then we put up a field goal.
That touchdown was a return touchdown. That was
I didn't want to mention it.
That was one of the most electric plays of the week.
I mean, it was, but I didn't want to mention it.
I know, but that was awesome. You had to give credit where credit's due for that.
That is true. Was Was it Greg Dortch?
I think it was.
Greg Dortch had a great game for this team. Sorry, it's DJ Dallas. He was DJ Dallas. My bad. But talking about the Bills here, I want to point out a stat. I'm very happy with how this passing attack went this week. Just how the whole offense actually operated. I mean, we only won this game by 6 points, yeah, but that fumble at the beginning of the game really cost us. I think if we don't fumble that ball, I think we win this game by 2 scores. And just looking at it right now, we had 9 guys catch a pass for us. 9 guys catch a pass. That's a lot, right? And that's an impressive number.
Share the ball around.
But 8 of them had a catch for over 10 yards. And that's an impressive stat, and that's the stat I'm taking away from this week. The only guy that didn't was Curtis Samuel, who had 2 catches for 15 yards. His highest was 8 in that. His long was 8, so he was pretty close on that. But every other guy, 4 of the guys had 1 reception. Knox had that one for 23 yards. MVS had that one for 19.
That's my guy.
And then rushing the ball. I mean, James Cook. I mean, this guy, he's gonna have a great year. Didn't get in the end zone because Allen took 2 touchdowns from him. But Allen got in with 39 yards, 9 carries of his own. And let me mention something. Backup running back Ray Davis, rookie. I mean, he had a run for 13 yards on that play.
It looked really good.
It was a short little stint, yeah, but it was a little flash in the pan there that we can see that we have another guy that could potentially go make plays back there. He also had that 14-yard reception in the game too. So a few flashes there from Ray Davis. What you like to see out of a rookie who on a team for not really playing rookies most of the time. So he must have done something to stand out to the coaches to show that he's a real player. So looking forward to this team. Looking forward to Thursday night. It's going to be a tough game, divisional opponent, and we'll pick that game in a little bit.
Yeah, that was really funny, too, because when I was watching that game, I'm like, who the hell is this Ray Davis guy?
Kentucky running back, dude. He's unreal.
I had no idea who
unreal.
he was.
He's really good. I'm really excited for him.
Yeah.
Actually.
So going
and
on
Cole,
from...
Coleman, I won't even mention him.
Oh, yeah.
He was our leading receiver with 51 yards, but...
he'll get the ball more.
Yeah, he'll get the ball more, but just first game, 4 receptions,
really
51 yards, with not much chemistry between the two. You can tell Coleman's still kind of a little spacey on some of the routes, so if he can just lock in.
He had one really hell of a catch on the sideline.
It was that, yeah, right.
That was unreal.
Yeah,
that's the guy I love from Michigan State.
He's got good hands. He's just a good receiver.
Yeah. He's gonna be a ball player. Going into the next game, and this one really, really, really pissed me off. So, the Chicago Bears played the Tennessee Titans on Sunday, 1 o'clock. The Titans started this game out 17-0. Will Levis was clicking. He has 19 for 32, 127 yards, touchdown. That's about as good as it got for Will Levis before he absolutely choked. Threw a pick 6, which nobody knows what he was throwing to. Nobody knows what he was doing. Very confused.
Did you see his reaction?
I did.
During it? It was pretty funny. He had his hands on his head. Yeah, he said no clue what to do.
Yeah,
he looked distraught.
He had no idea why he did that.
And we don't know either.
Yeah. But, yeah, and he had another game-stealing interception. Tony Pollard, though, played pretty good. 16 carries, 82 yards, touchdown. Calvin Ridley finally getting the ball a little bit. 3 receptions, 50 yards. 17-0. The Bears came back 24-0. But what if I told you, Charles, that they didn't score a single offensive touchdown?
Probably believe you. The way that offense looked.
Yeah. I mean, the Bears didn't score one offensive touchdown. 24 points were from the mixture of a defense and special teams. Caleb Williams, 14 for 29, 93 yards. That's it.
But that's a really good football team, though. I'll say that, because if you can win games without your offense scoring a point, I mean, you're going to set yourself up good for the end of the season when the offense is clicking. And the defense will carry that momentum throughout basically probably the whole season. I mean, getting one good game on defense will carry you through probably 3 games on defense. So,
very true.
Good game overall for the Bears there, I guess.
And
good momentum game.
DeAndre Swift, 10 carries, 30 yards. DJ Moore, 5 receptions, 36 yards. Nothing crazy on this offensive side of the ball. Like I said, they never scored 1 point. Not 1 point. So, Caleb Williams gets his first little cute start. He could go paint his nails. And we'll see who they got next week.
Yeah, and now moving down to Florida, where we had some controversy down there in Miami with Tyreek Hill and that whole situation that happened. He was speeding without a seatbelt on, and he got pulled over. some words were exchanged, I think, between him and the police officer that was down there. He wouldn't roll down his window. He rolled down his window, rolled it back up. Police officer asked him to roll it back down. He rolled it down like not even halfway. And then they didn't have to drag him out of the car. But I agree with that. He should have rolled down his window. They didn't have to take him out of the car like that. The whole situation escalated pretty higher than I think both parties wanted it to. But situation happened. Nothing really came from it, I guess. And actually, the biggest momentum turn in this game after the Dolphins won 27-17, the biggest momentum shift happened in the third quarter of this game when Tyreek Hill scored that 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
First play of the drive. 11. I'm just looking at it right now. It was 11 seconds.
No, yeah.
An 80-yard play was 11 seconds. That's insane. Usually it's about 12 or 13. But that guy's pretty good. That was definitely the momentum shift in the game. They were still down at that point, but they kicked 2 field goals in the fourth quarter to win the game over this Jags team who really needed this win.
They did.
And this Dolphin team looks to be kind of rolling right now. I'm not scared of them, but I don't like the momentum that they've going right now.
The thing that I loved from this Dolphins team wasn't their offense, it was how their defense rallied. And they let up 17 points, but they didn't let up a point up after that.
Not in the second half, no.
So the whole second half, the Jaguars went scoreless because they were locking everybody up. I was really happy to see the Dolphins really flip the script on what everybody calls is a bad defense. And, I'm really excited for this Dolphins team moving forward.
Yep, ETN getting in the end zone, Brian Thomas getting in the end zone for the Jags.
ETN fumbling a big touchdown ball, though.
Yeah, right. I mean, so he had up and down game. Lawrence, up and down game, just the touchdown, didn't throw a pick. Just kind of a mid-game there from Trevor Lawrence, 12 or 21. It was a close game, but it wasn't really an entertaining game.
No, it wasn't entertaining.
So it was kind of just one of those games that, like, you look back and be like, oh, yeah, I remember that Dolphins game. They played the Jags? Is that the one? Yeah. They won that game 20-17.
Yeah, not much said. Well said. Next game we got the Seattle Seahawks playing the Denver Broncos, and what used to be like a fun little tiny little rivalry kind of got rebuilt with Russ, but nope, not anymore. Got some new faces in this building. This one was played at Lumen Field. And a decent game. Definitely one that we were kind of right about. We're like, you don't really need to watch this one. I mean, it was a close game, 26-20. But, I don't know. It didn't really feel like a close game, though. Even though they did win. Geno Smith, 18 for 25, 171 yards, touchdown and an interception. He just didn't really look that great. But my guy, Kenneth Walker, K9, Michigan State legend, 20 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. This guy is unreal when he's healthy. Praying that he stays healthy, because if he does, he might carry that team to new heights if Geno Smith keeps playing like this. Tyler Lockett, 6 receptions, 77 yards. Decent game. You always want to put up at least more than 24 points. They did that. That's how they got the win over this rookie who actually played pretty decent, except for 2 picks. But other than that, the stats aren't horrible. 26 for 42. Obviously, you want to complete the ball a little more, but 138 yards, not great. But he rushed the ball a little, and he got 5 carries, 35 yards, and a touchdown. A lot to see from Bo Nix. I'm a big Bo Nix guy.
Me too. I think he played a pretty decent game, and I think this will help him for next week.
It will.
First home game next week.
And
tough place to play.
It is. I mean, Lumen Field's always going to be the 12th man, It's going to be a tough place to play. Josh Reynolds, 5 receptions, 45 yards. I mean, that's pretty much it about this game. Just kind of, in the first half, the Broncos looked like the better team, too, which was kind of surprising. But in the second half, Seahawks came back, buckled in, dialed in.
I think the fans got into it a little bit more in the second half.
Their uniforms were beautiful. They wore those throwbacks week one. Those were great.
The Broncos uniforms look pretty good, too.
They look good on the field, man.
They wore the orange pants, though, I think, on Sunday. Those look pretty good, too.
So I'm really excited to see that uniform matchup. But Seahawks get the win here. They improved to 1-0. Broncos drop to 0-1.
Yeah, next game on the slate here, Chargers taking down the Raiders, divisional matchup here, 22-10. First game for Jim Harbaugh as coach of the Chargers. And first game for, I want to mention this, J.K. Dobbins. What a game for this guy. 10 carries, 135, and a touchdown. And I saw a thing yesterday from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that was
and
awesome.
He said,
it was awesome.
I didn't know this was a thing. I forgot Rodgers was training out in L.A. for his rehab, but he was training with J.K. Dobbins every day because J.K. Dobbins also had, was it also an Achilles injury? He was an Achilles or an ACL last year.
It was one or the other.
But he had one of those injuries that he was out the whole year. They're rehabbing. I think it was an Achilles.
I think it was.
They're rehabbing together, and Rodgers said that was one of the only reasons why I got through rehab was because of J.K. Dobbins, because of his positivity, how he carried himself every day, just his work ethic, and they were pushing each other, going back and forth, talking back and forth to each other. So now, I mean, Ohio State guy, right? But I kind of like J.K. Dobbins. So he had a pretty good game there, rooting for him this season. Justin Herbert, decent game for the kid. 17 for 26, 144 and touchdown. Didn't really cost his team too much. Wasn't really a factor for his team too much, honestly. It was more of a J.K. Dobbins game on offense. Lad McConkey got in there for his first NFL touchdown. That's big.
I was hyped for that one. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, Gardner Minshew getting in there, slinging the rock a little bit. 257 passing yards for the guy. One touchdown, that one pick that he threw. And not much else for this team. Alexander Madison getting in for the score in his first game with the Raiders.
Look, that touchdown was amazing.
31 yards, yeah. But not much to take away from this game. Raiders don't look too great. They're probably going to be bottom of the AFC this year. Chargers looking to stay in that playoff race this year, get back into the playoffs, and see if they can do it. It's going to be a good season with Jim Harbaugh, I think, there.
Yeah, I think so. I think they might have a decent year. Quentin Johnson still not showing me anything though. He played like absolute buns.
He's in the same group as Drake London. Like they got to both do something to prove themselves as a receiver, because we keep talking about it. We're like, oh, Drake London is a really good receiver, but if every game he's two catches for 15 yards, I mean, I don't think that's a great stat line.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, now we're gonna move on to what Fox likes to call the America's Game of the Week. The Dallas Cowboys just signed Dak Prescott to a big deal right before the game as they flew to Cleveland, and everybody's like, okay, gotta buckle in. Cleveland might win this game. Cowboys are gonna be trash this year. That didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. Tom Brady's debut in the Fox broadcasting, didn't think he did a good job.
I don't think he did either. And I think this goes to show that you can't just throw anybody in there and they can do that job, which I like to see personally as a sports media guy.
Oh, yeah.
I do think Brady's going to do a good job at that job.
He probably will.
But shout out Greg Olson.
He was the man.
He was the man. Got his job taken from him.
He was awesome.
But Brady, awesome. I think it'll come with Brady. I think he just needs to figure out where to hold the mic to start. Holding it up a little bit too high, man. And then he's just got to get more into a rhythm. I think he was nervous.
I think he was too.
I think that was one of the only times
because
he sounded like he was like, I don't want to say his voice was like shaky.
It was
but
shaky,
but like he didn't seem very confident with some of the things he was saying. He got more confident, especially calling out some of the plays that were going on.
Especially with like Micah Parsons and
right. He was like, hey, this guy's gonna blitz off the edge and he's gonna sack him, and he knew it. I mean, it happened. So I think he's gonna do a good job, and I think it's gonna get better. But these first couple weeks, I think, are gonna be pretty rough.
I think they are too. But it wasn't rough for the Cowboys. They put up 33 points in this game. Dak Prescott, 19 for 32, 179 yards, touchdown, no interceptions. Good for the kid. We're number 4 in Dallas. Zeke Elliott's back. We're in number 15 now. 10 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown, I'm not going to lie, was really cool to watch. Him get his touchdown back, and he looks better. I want to put that out. I want to say he looks skinnier than he did the last time he was in Dallas. He looks a little bit more fit. Maybe New England put something good on him. I don't know. But he's back. He scored a touchdown. It was nice. CeeDee Lamb, though, kid special. Like only 5 receptions, only 61 yards, but still looked like a great game from the kid.
I mean, yeah, only being there for like a week. I mean, pretty good.
No, yeah, literally. Now, if we go to the Brown side of the ball, though, these are stats that are going to hurt your ears. So I'm going to give you a ears bleeding warning because this is bad. Deshaun Watson threw the ball 45 times. He only completed 24 of them. He had a touchdown. He had 2 interceptions. He played like hot garbage. Hot garbage.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that were said about Deshaun Watson. I mean,
I think he should
on
be
and
benched
off
for-
the field
Yeah.
this weekend, and
You
just
seen
not
the
a good
case
week.
came in?
Just not a good weekend for
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
So I honestly think you sit Deshaun. Give
Play Jameis,
Wi-
man.
Yeah.
Play Jameis.
Jameis has a better attitude
Let's
about
go.
everything in life. Give
Get
him
him in there.
Let's see what he can do.
Get him in there. Why not?
Jerome Ford, decent game, 12 carries, 44 yards, touchdown. And David Njoku, who went out in the second half with an injury. Don't know how he's doing. I'll have to do more research. 4 receptions, 44 yards for the kid. 33-17 was the final score of this game. It was bad. And it was 33-10, but Cleveland put up this little gimmicky touchdown at the end. So, not a pretty game from the Browns, which we weren't expecting. We were expecting at least a close game. And Cowboys get a much needed win, but the Browns lose a much needed win as well.
Right. And yeah, I mean, yeah. You good with that game?
Oh yeah.
I was making sure before I went on. I didn't want to jump the gun here because I'm excited to talk about this next game and this next team. Tampa Bay Buccaneers took down the Washington Commanders, 37-20, last Sunday. And let me start with the Commanders here. Jaden Daniels looked pretty good. I mean, 17 for 24 and 184 passing yards. And then he got in the end zone 2 times. His first 2 NFL touchdowns both came in the second half, both 1-yard rushing touchdowns. And Brian Robinson also got in there 1 time for the Commanders. Jaden Daniels also had 88 rushing yards. 88 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns for Jaden Daniels. Pretty good game for him overall. But this Bucs team, they might be different. Because
That's what I was saying in the beginning of the season.
yeah, their backup running back, Bucky Irving. Okay, if you're a Rashad White fantasy owner, you might want to look into maybe trading him right now, because Bucky Irving, the other day, 9 carries, 62 yards. Rashad White, 15 carries for 31 yards. I mean, that's not a great look if you're Rashad White. It's not a great look if you're a Bucs fan. What is a great look is Mike Evans getting 2 touchdowns, Chris Godwin getting 1, Jalen McMillan getting in there for 1. Chris Godwin, 8 receptions, Mike Evans with 5. They're both just so consistent.
They are.
So good every year.
I love it though.
And last but not least, I mean, this guy might be an MVP candidate. No, I'm just kidding. But really good season, I mean, on the horizon here for Baker Mayfield. 24 for 30 for 289 and 4 touchdowns, no picks.
Not gonna lie, I think I'm gonna put Baker in the tier 1.
I think Baker was player of the week. I think he was out of bounds player of the week.
He's gonna be the out of bounds player
Because
of the week.
that stat line right there, out of all the stat lines we've seen, has just exceeded. That's the only one that's jumped out to me and been like, he had a great game.
Yeah.
Every other guy was like, okay, like he did some good things here, did some good things here. Like Jaden Daniels, great game running the ball.
Yeah.
Okay game passing the ball. Didn't get in the end zone throwing the ball there.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns passing for Baker Mayfield. All actually in a row too. Their first 2 points came on field goals, and then the next 4 scores came from touchdowns. So,
Yeah.
good offensive game there from Baker and the Bucs, and see if they can move that on to potentially an NFC Championship or an NFC South Championship. Sorry,
Yeah.
not NFC Championship, NFC South Championship. Especially with the Falcons losing this week.
Going into another matchup, which was a playoff rematch, which is getting really hyped up right now. The Detroit Lions hosted the
But they give
LA
us a good
Rams.
game every time.
But they always
It's too
give us a
good.
good game.
It's too good.
So honestly, I don't care about the hype because it's honestly worth it every time. The Lions had an overtime win against these Rams. I'll go through the Lions real quick. Jared Goff, decent game. Decent. 18 for 28, 217 yards, touchdown and a pick. But the guy who led him through that overtime period, David Montgomery, turned up in that overtime. 17 carries, 91 yards, touchdown. But the guy who knows how to catch a ball and his back, no suspension, no nothing. The kid from Alabama, Jamison Williams, 5 receptions, 121 yards, and a touchdown. Unreal from the kid. Absolutely unreal. And I thought this was going to be an Amon-Ra game. I really did. but it wasn't. It just completely wasn't. It was a Jameson Williams night. I'm really proud of him too because of all the things he's been going through, the injuries, the suspensions. Good for the kid. Feel good for him. But
yeah, I mean, 121 receptions from Jameson Williams. I mean, you had to expect at some point when he was fully healthy, he was gonna be that kind of show flash of that number one receiver that he was. And I also think this is gonna be really good for Amon-Ra because
space it out more.
Obviously, as a fantasy owner, you might not like that, but you also might because he might be more valuable. He won't get as many touches this year, but he'll be healthier.
Yeah.
So he should be in, hopefully, knock on wood, should play every game and should have, he'll have less production, but he'll be more efficient, I think. I think that's where he'll come in to help. Mentioned that overtime drive from David Montgomery right there, 45 yards rushing on that drive. That's unreal.
And the touchdown.
Including the touchdown to win the game. And he was hyped. That whole defense was hyped.
Yeah.
Hutch was getting into it.
Hutch
a little
was
bit on the
getting into
defensive end. And this Rams team, I mean, Blake Corum got in the game a little bit. Sorry, no, he didn't. No, I was kidding.
I was about to say, I don't remember him.
No, I didn't. Because Ronnie Rivers, whoever that is, took his backup spot running. So can't really watch some Blake Corum either. Can't watch some Roman Wilson. He doesn't get in the game either. JJ McCarthy, obviously out.
It's tough for those.
It's tough for those three, but we got some guys on defense too. So I mean, watch those guys. Got some guys on O-line. Shout out Michigan. This was a great game overall. It's definitely what the NFL wanted to see on Sunday night. And next week, hopefully, we get the same result because that was a great game. Monday night game.
Oh, just a little tidbit.
All right.
Puka Nacua went out with an injury.
Yep. Sorry.
He's got a forgot what it was. Something in his knee.
Yep. I can't remember either.
That might be a sprained MCL.
Yeah, I think I was
something like
just
that.
thinking MCL.
But for you fantasy owners, that sucks. And
He'll miss a little bit of time. Yeah.
I am one of those fantasy owners, so it does suck. But guess what? Guess what I have on my bench for Puka? Jameson Williams.
There you go.
So
slide him right in there. Slide him right in there. Speaking of some good wide receivers, those 49ers have some pretty good wide receivers, huh? They win that game over the Jets on Monday night. Pretty good game overall. A pretty entertaining game. Talk about your guy Aaron Rodgers real quick. He made it to the 5th snap, and he played a game.
I want to make an announcement. I officially switched my AFC team to the New York Jets. I'm all in. I'm all in.
Oh my
Jets.
goodness.
I'm all in. Yesterday I was so excited for this game. Put on my A-Rod jersey. I got out there. I'm hitting my green 19. I'm getting all into it. Oh my God, this was awesome. That first quarter was awesome. I'm like, wow. Obviously, guys, I'm still a Packers fan. Let's not take that away. But I'm switching my AFC team from the Chargers to the Jets. But the Chargers I still will love.
I thought you were a Colts fan in the AFC.
No, it's Chargers.
Oh.
I will still.
We're jumping around here.
No. I was never a Colts guy. You're thinking of the Rockets because
I mean, yeah,
easy.
but
like,
I thought you were a Colts guy too.
No, I was a Chargers guy.
All right.
But that's exactly. I mean, you never really know. But now, Charlie's really in on those Lions.
I am.
I'm really in on these Jets.
I've been in on
Jets,
those Lions,
Jets. So, a lot of it helps because it's A-Rod. So, A-Rod's my guy. He struggled. Let's talk about something really quick. The time of possession this game was horrible.
Yep, and that's what really cost them the game. I was going to mention that.
It ruined it.
The Packers were pretty efficient. The Jets were pretty efficient when they were on offense. But I'm looking at these two guys, both former Packers. That's why I said Packers there.
Lazard.
Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard had a pretty good connection. Alan Lazard had 2 touchdowns. One of them from Aaron Rodgers. One of them from Tyrod Taylor.
I know.
Former Bill.
Just want to say the free
and he
play
should
is
maybe
back,
be the
too.
starter because he had a better stat line than Rodgers
my
did.
God.
Statistic, like percentage-wise, he had a better stat line.
Let's talk about the free play, though. Rodgers does what he does best. He has 17 free plays, offside, penalties, touchdowns in Green Bay. Now he's got one more in New York. Another Packer.
Little dot over the middle.
But it's to a Packer.
36 yards, yeah.
Always makes me happy when he throws to a Packer. Sadly, it's not Randall Cobb. It'll be Alan Lazard, who it's not my favorite at all. I've hated that guy for a couple of years ever since he started talking bad about the boys in green and gold. But if he's catching the ball from Rodgers, I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
And flipping over to the Niners side now, they had 2 touchdowns in this game. one rushing touchdown from Debo. The other one from Jordan Mason, who had a great game. 28 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. This guy's going to be a problem as a backup running back for this Niners team when McCaffrey gets back. However long that will be, hopefully be back this week. But who knows?
They're saying he probably won't be back this week. So
There you go.
You Jordan Mason owners, keep starting them.
But you're looking at this game, you're like, they scored 2 touchdowns and they won this game by 13 points. And they had 32 overall. How'd they do it?
How'd they do it?
Well, they had 18 points from the man, Jake Moody.
My
I
guy.
mean, your guy.
In fantasy.
Oh, yeah, in fantasy. He's my guy in fantasy for our school league.
Power league.
And my guy from Michigan.
I didn't know he was from Michigan, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That's
automatic.
awesome.
Never missed an extra point. And only missed, I think, 1 field goal his whole time. 46-yarder, 51-yarder, 31-yarder, 53-yarder, 23-yarder, and a 42-yarder.
He didn't miss a kick all night.
Those are not some easy kicks to make.
He also made 2 extra points.
Yep, 2 extra points he made.
So those are 34, I think. 34 yards.
Dude's just drilling kicks all over the place. He went 8 for 8 on kicks.
One of them doinked in, too.
One of them did doink in. It was actually not even one of the longer ones, too.
No.
So, just a good game overall for the Niners. Great game for Jake Moody getting in there. Love to see that, especially on a Monday night when I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Just a good game. Good overall slate. I think this is a good way to wrap up the slate right here.
Yeah, I'll just give a really quick thanks to Jake Moody. I was down 20 points to my brother in fantasy this week.
I think a lot of people were in that.
And,
I was in that boat too.
He gave me 26, so I beat my brother up. So.
Yep.
Hey, Colin, that's why you start Jaden Reed. Just want to let you know.
Shout out to Jake Moody.
Shout out Jake Moody.
Everybody's guy this
He was
week.
my MVP. He was my MVP.
Not Baker?
No, sorry. Well, I didn't think about Baker. He's my fantasy MVP.
Fantasy MVP.
So I'll do an MVP and a fantasy MVP every week.
I like that.
I'll do that.
So we're gonna get into our predictions now. As I said at the beginning of the episode, we post these every week on our Instagram.
At Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot between every single word.
Yes, there is, Gavin. I went 11-5 last week. Gavin went 10-6. Let's rapid fire these predictions because we'll get into the recap, I guess, next week, recapping them.
Yeah.
But let's get into it right now. Let's go quick.
As we were doing our episode,
You switched a few?
I switched one pick.
Oh, was it
It's this first pick.
the first one?
Give me the Miami Dolphins over the Buffalo Bills at home Thursday night. I was just really thinking how good that defense played, and I'm like, you know what?
It's dangerous territory, man, though.
I know the Bills.
Dolphins playing Allen at this point.
I know,
I mean, it's
but the Bills, the past 12 games are 11-1 against the Dolphins.
Right.
They got to shake it at some point. I'm taking them now.
I agree with you. I can't pick against my Bills, though. I'm going
I
to
know.
Bills in this game. I mean, I can pick against them, but I don't think they're going to lose this game. Like,
It's going to be a good game.
I don't want to pick the Dolphins and then the Bills win, and then I'm like, oh, I should have just picked the
Yeah.
Bills. Like, I thought they were going to win. But it's one of those things. It's like at some point you think they're going to lose, but could this be like a Brady Bills situation? Kind of, you think, like an Allen Dolphins kind of thing? At this point, it's kind of turning into that. So
It's just weird, though, because the Bills were historically awful. And, like, the Dolphins aren't even that bad.
they're pretty bad against Allen.
Well, I know against Allen, but I'm just saying, like, the Bills were bad in general, though.
The Bills
But
were
the Dolphins
were
aren't
bad,
in general,
right?
So it's weird.
That's why it's more impressive.
It is more impressive.
That's why it's more impressive.
So you just got to keep doing
That's
it.
why he's better than Tom Brady. Yeah.
Basically, he's the GOAT.
Getting into this next game now. I'm excited for that Thursday night game.
Yeah.
On to this next game now. This is a 1 o'clock game on a Sunday. 49ers, Vikings. This is a pretty good game to be watching. Thought it might be at 4 o'clock there.
Yeah,
Sometimes Minnesota is one of those teams. They get 4 o'clock games. I got the Niners in this one. Even if McCaffrey's out, I still think Mason could be enough in that backfield. And definitely with Purdy out there. Ayuk did nothing. Debo didn't do too much. Kittle had a great first half. Didn't have a great second half. See if he can continue a whole game there. And I don't think Sam Darnold's going to put back-to-back good games together. I think the Niners take this one.
Kind of sounds like a Shark Tank thing. For that reason, I'm out.
I'm out.
You know
I'm
what
out
I'm
of the
saying?
Vikings, man.
So I'm also taking the Niners. You said all the points I was going to touch upon. I think the Niners will just win by 2-3 scores here.
Seahawks-Patriots is the next game. Also a former Super Bowl matchup.
Yep.
And I
Teams are completely
had the Seahawks in this game. I think they start 2-0. I think they make a push for the playoffs. I think they're going to be a solid team all year, even though Gerard Mayo and that Patriots team won last week.
Yeah, I think it was a nice week 1, but it's week 2 reality now. I think Kenneth Walker's going to run all over this defense. Give me the Seahawks.
Giants at Commanders.
Give me the rookie here.
This will be an interesting game to watch. Malik Neighbors, Jaden Daniels going
Yeah.
at it. Maybe jersey swap at the end of the game.
They probably will.
Probably will. I got the Commanders in this one. I think Jaden Daniels throws his first NFL touchdown. I think he throws 3 of them. That's my prediction for the week.
I like it.
I think he throws 3 of them. Don't know to who. But I think this Giants team's really bad. And I think the Commanders are going to get a win here.
I low-key think this is going to be like a defensive game. Got like a 17-10 Commanders.
That's fair.
That's what I'm going to go
fair.
with.
Next game here, we got Chargers-Panthers. Interesting matchup, a light blue matchup. And I got Harbaugh going into Carolina and winning that game. I got the Chargers here.
Yeah, give me Jay Herbo. Taking his squad, he's going to actually throw a couple more touchdowns this week.
I hope so.
I think J.K. Dobbins will still have a good game, but I think Herbo will finally pick up where he should have left off.
Saints at Cowboys. I got the Cowboys here. I think they just played too well last week. I wasn't really expecting it, and I think they're going to get better because CD didn't play that great. So if he can just get a little bit better, I think that team's going to get better. The defense is still really good. That Saints team, I think they're really good. I think they're good, but I think they're just good. So I got the Cowboys in this one.
I'm going to completely side on you on that, and I'm just going to say for the Saints, it's a little too early. You beat up on a horrible team. Prove me something before I pick you.
Right. If they make this a close game, I mean, maybe we'll be picking them in week 3, but
yeah,
who knows?
Give me the Colts. Give me the Cowboys.
Well, let's get into the next one. Colts at Packers.
Yeah, it is Colts at Packers.
Big game here. You got the Colts, you said.
I do have the Colts.
Over your own team.
I do have the Colts. Malik Willis needs to show me something.
That's true.
If he gives me this week to show me something, I'll get choosing the Packers again. But if it,
Who do you have week 3? Titans?
Titans.
All right, so that's a winnable game.
That's a very winnable game.
Big game here for both these teams starting off 0-1.
This was supposed to be the most hyped up game, most hyped up week 2 of my life. Ian and I were going to get into it. We're still getting into it.
Still getting into it, yeah.
But if Jordan Love was in this game, I would be all over him. He'd be all over me like we are right now. But, I mean, we would, bust each other's chops a little more if Jordan Love was in this game. But
yeah,
he's not.
Right.
We're still going to watch the game together,
right.
Obviously. Have to watch this game together. But I just wish Jordan Love was playing. But let him get healthy. Get healthy, J Love. If you're listening out there in the beautiful town of Green Bay, Wisconsin, I'm rooting for you.
I got the Colts. AR is going to have a great game. I think JT is going to have a great game. I also think Josh Jacobs is going to have a great game.
Yeah.
It's going to be it's going to be one of the fastest games of the week, I think. I think a lot of running clock. And I think the Colts take this one, especially even though it's on the road,
I think it's a different story if Jordan Love's playing in this game, though.
It might be.
But maybe we'll see in the Super Bowl. I don't know.
Next game here, we got Browns at Jags, 2 teams that probably won't be in the Super Bowl. I have the Browns.
Yeah, give me the Browns. Start Jameis and get the job done over with.
Actually, you know what? I'm going Jags. I'm switching my pick.
Honestly, I wish I could choose because if I know it's Deshaun Watson playing in this game, I'm taking the Jags. But if it's Jameis Winston, I'll take the Browns.
I'm taking the Jags. I'm flipping my pick officially.
I'm going to take the Browns still. I'm going to keep them.
Because I feel like no matter what, I didn't see enough out of the Browns. And I think that was more – I think when I was picking the games, I saw that game and I was like, well, they got to win a game at some point, right? But I'm not just going to pick them just because. So I'm going to pick the Jags here. They're both going to be – or Jags are going to be 1-1. Browns are going to be 0-2 to start this year.
I'll still take the Browns, though.
Fair enough.
Next game, we have the New York Jets, New Jersey Jets, traveling to Tennessee to play the Titans. I got a big bounce back game from the Jets. Give me A-Rod having 4 touchdowns in this game, 2-3 of them to Garrett Wilson.
I got the Jets too. I think they're just better than the Titans overall. That's it.
Yeah, enough said. Bucks at Lions, rematch of the wild card last year.
I think these might be my 2 NFC teams. Hate to say it, but I like that Bucks team. I think it's more because of Baker than anything. But
yeah,
I got my Lions at home. I think they're going to pull this one off. MCDC's going to have the crowd rocking. Another playoff game for the Lions. Another former playoff game from last year. Actually, in order.
Yeah.
Too. That's kind of weird.
Was a divisional.
Do they play at San Fran next week?
That would be unreal.
That would be unreal. I don't think they do, but that'd be really funny. But I got the Lions in this one nonetheless.
Yeah, give me the Lions here. I think their momentum from this overtime game is just going to keep flowing. So, yeah, I'll take the Lions with it.
Raiders at Ravens.
The Lions playing Arizona next week.
Ah,
NFC West team, but Close.
Raiders at Ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens.
I think the Ravens are just going to monkey stomp them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll be rooting for Gardner, but I don't think it'll go too well.
yeah.
Rams at Cardinals.
I got Rams. I do like what I saw out of the Cardinals, though. I'm not going to let them slip from my fingers because I want to give them a lot of credit that they were competitive with a very good Bills team. So give the Cardinals their flowers for the participation, but give me the Rams. They need to bounce back when perfect opportunity against a divisional opponent.
Right. Even though both these teams lost, I looked at it and I said, which team was I more impressed with the loss? And I was really impressed with the Cardinals, like way more than I thought I'd be. But I was even more impressed with the Rams and how they handled that game in Detroit, Sunday Night Football.
They need to play that game in L.A.
one of these times. Yeah, right.
It's
right.
getting
I agree. But it's so electric in Detroit.
No, it is. It is.
I have the Rams in this game.
So do I.
Yeah.
Next game, we got the Bengals at the Chiefs. And if the Bengals showed me more, I think I would have picked them.
I think I would have too. And I was thinking about it this week, but I just can't do it.
I don't think this is the week where Joe Burrow gets his bounce back win. I got the Chiefs here.
Me too.
Next game, we have Steelers at Broncos. And they're saying that Justin Fields is going to make the start again, which I do like. And that's the reason why I'm going to take him. I'm taking the Steelers here.
Hey, you know what? I love that. Because guess what? Even though that Steelers team played well last week and that Broncos team lost, I'm taking the Broncos because there's not going to be many games where I can pick the Broncos.
That's true.
So I'm going to do it right here in a game that at home, Bo Nix played pretty well in that first half last week in a tough place in Seattle. If he's at home and can play that well in the second half too this week and put a whole game together, I feel like that Broncos team can compete. They have some good players. Their defense played decently well in that first half last week. It's just whether that Steelers defense is really going to show up. I think that's the key in the game, but I got the Broncos still.
All right. I love the pick, but we got different. And we got another different here.
Sunday night game. Huge Sunday night game. Bears at Texans. It's going to be an entertaining one. I had the Bears.
I got the Texans winning by 2 scores in this one.
Really? I think it's going to be a good game.
At home, give C.J. Stroud the Sunday night game. He's going against a rookie, which I know he's only in his second year, but he plays like a vet in this league. He's been playing like a vet since the second half of last year.
Yeah.
I definitely got the Texans in this one, but I'm going to take 2 scores, which can mean 10 points, and I think it will be 10 or 14 points.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I'm a little score prediction for this one. I got 38-24 Texans.
All right. I'm not going to put a score in this one, but I think it's going to be both teams are going to get it to the 30s. That's my prediction.
Okay.
Or no, sorry. I think it's going to be low 30s for the Bears, high 20s for the Texans. Is that fair?
All right.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Monday night, last game of the week, Falcons at Eagles. I got the Eagles here.
I have the Eagles, but with an explanation. There's one man who just can't do it on Monday night, and that's Kirk Cousins. And he's definitely not doing it against the Eagles.
No, and I mean, they struggled last game offensively, and this is not a game where you're going to get back on track offensively, especially against this defense.
Nope.
So, yeah, Eagles in this game, I think, all the way.
Yeah, give me the Eagles here. Absolutely. 100%.
All right, so that's week 1, and that's our predictions for week 2. Let us know if you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you guys for listening. Gavin, you got anything?
Week 1 was great. Let's make week 2 great.
All right.
Let's keep it going.
All right.
Make them all great.
Make each week greater.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, excited
Love
for
being
NFL.
back.
NFL to be back. Love the routine now, getting back into it.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. And I hope you guys have a great NFL week 2 and have a great day.
And as always, have a day.